In August this year, the High Court of Australia will hear a case brought by a Toowoomba parent challenging the National Schools Chaplaincy program on the grounds that it breaches the separation of church and state. But religion aside, education and mental health experts are strongly opposed to the scheme. They see it as a wasted opportunity, while the federal government and church groups insist it's cost-effective pastoral care. Kirsten Drysdale explores both sides of the story.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm announcing today that the Commonwealth will fund a school chaplaincy program.
A non-compulsory scheme, originally budgeted at $90 million over 3 years. The stated aim of the National School Chaplaincy program was to help schools with pastoral care, spiritual guidance and support.
I am calling them chaplains because that has a particular connotation in our language.
Teachers groups and the Education Union were furious that the government would fund well-meaning but non-qualified people rather than address the chronic shortage of expert psychological help to deal with the serious issues faced by young people at school.
There are a number of reports that show that school chaplains are engaging in duties for which they're not qualified, such as counselling students with depression, anxiety, eating disorders or suicidal ideation.
In spite of the opposition, both the Howard and Rudd governments expanded the program.
School chaplains are making a difference. That is why today I can confirm that the government will be continuing the school chaplaincy program.
And during last year's election campaign, Julia Gillard preempted a review of the scheme when she more than doubled the funding.
Look, I am very positive towards the continuation of this program,
bringing it to a total of almost $440 million. Who do you think the government is trying to please with this program?
Clearly the religious lobby. It's mind-boggling, if you like, that having announced a review of this program without having waited for the outcome of the review, during the course of the federal election, the Prime Minister announced its extension.
Education Minister Peter Garrett says the timing was just a coincidence.
Entirely, as far as I'm concerned. I think that it's very clear that this has been a really popular program.
And it was clear before the review was completed? Well,
absolutely.
Today, there are federally funded chaplains in 2,700 schools across Australia. 98.5% of those chaplains are Christian, largely from evangelical churches. If it's not about religion, why is it a chaplaincy program?
Chaplains are considered to be people who have a skills base that is well suited to providing pastoral care.
So non-religious people aren't able to provide pastoral care?
Of course non-religious people can provide pastoral care, and schools are in a position of having a range of services that they can draw from. The feedback that we get from principals is that this program is one which they welcome. It is a program where there's significant demand for the services that chaplains are providing, and on that basis we're really excited about the possibility for its expansion.
If schools could direct that money into needed resources, it would definitely be for more school psychologists, counsellors and social workers.
Let me make it very clear. Teachers and principals are telling us that what they need is resources to meet the needs of children. We have caseloads that are just unmanageable. In New South Wales, for example, the caseload for a school counsellor could be anywhere up to 1,500 students for one school counsellor.
Students that experience mental health problems are not accessing services from professionally qualified mental health workers.
Chaplaincy advocates, such as Tim Mander, CEO of Scripture Union Queensland, the nation's largest provider of school chaplains, says the two services should not be confused, insisting chaplains are not counsellors.
You won't have a chaplain dealing with complex issues on an ongoing basis.
They start to self-harm.
The harrowing tales told by chaplains in Scripture Union's own promotional videos suggest otherwise.
And she came up to me and she said, "Shane, why doesn't my dad love me?"
A 10-year-old girl hung herself.
Physical, emotional and sexual abuse scars run so deep that, in his words, he says, counsellors and therapists can't help me.
They're there to be a listening point, a trusted adult for, as I said, in the first instance, a child to speak to.
just about anyone can get, a child or young person to open up. It's actually what you do with that information when they do open up, and that's what distinguishes someone that's qualified and someone that's not qualified.
We believe there should be more psychologists in school. We want as much care for our kids as possible, but we don't think it should be at the detriment of school chaplaincy.
Meanwhile, the government is working through the thousands of submissions to its recent discussion paper on how to expand and extend the program. The guidelines might be updated, but it looks like the program itself is here to stay.
You can't get better evidence than the fact that more and more schools want this program, and that's what's happening.
Any offer of funding for extra support is going to be well received. However, what we really need to be asking is this the best way to be using such a lot of money?
Allocating monies in the order of $440 million is a wasted opportunity. Those monies should be targeted to allow us to enhance our professional services in schools, professional services offered by trained school counsellors and psychologists. That's where the money should be allocated.